is Margaret Ann Windsor, and this is September the 14th, 2014. And this is birth certificates that were forced upon me. The name, Carl Preston Dempsey was a twin, and I was given the name and grew up having to use it. I still am, of Peggy Ann Dempsey. I married a Childers. This is from the state of Alabama. And this is Lana Dempsey, the mother of the twins, and the state of Alabama, because they brought me here in 41, or to Moulton, Alabama, a pigsty. In 41, they'd kidnapped me from Buckingham Palace and dropped me off there. I assume I was flown in at the Cortland Air Base, which had just been, I guess, completed at that time during the war. And the state of Alabama even marked through the dates and put January the 7th. And they left the 38, which it's almost like the sick, ugly joke it is, because nobody's going to touch it. This is illegal, like everything else they've done to me. Inserting and marking through a birth certificate, that's your passport, the whole name and who I am is a lie there. And but Carl was a twin. They've used the names in mind control murders. And I guess I'm showing my garbage can and everything else here. As in the Oscar Pistorius, I did not know until I Googled yesterday that his name was also Carl. But his older brother Carl was the one I had, was also trying to tell that was mind control. You can, with mind control, which I wrote about in 76 to 80 when I had antifreeze put in me on April Fool Day of 80 and should have died. Anyway, I was doing a book and about mind control and what can be done with it. And you can commit mass murders, program people. Larry Flint, and I'm reaching here, and I think I should just make a point. I've got all this on here over and over again. Larry Flint of Hustler magazine was shot, and he did an article in here, April of '84, about me, saying I knew who was responsible for his shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I was doing the book in Marietta. This is where he wrote the article and mentioned Larry McDonald and some other names like the Murphy and the Culver and etc. that fit into patterns in the murders. And I will say this real quick, and then I'm going to go to the other, and then I'm going to just stop this one, because for some reason they're not going up today, whatever reason, this morning. So I was kidnapped from Buckingham Palace. And I will say this, that I can't put it all on here right at the moment. The Brits are the good guys, and yes, they are. The United States is a sorry socks, moved in and it's created this whole havoc and global takeover, Illuminati, and used Elizabeth, part of my family, to do it. And I've got this on other tapes. I'll say this, that the Brits are the ones that saved me, and the Germans, some of my family, and a few Americans. Most of them are just wanting to hide it, and I mean, it's sick. They're not going to give up. They're spoiled. Heard someone in the grocery store the other day when I can't even afford to eat hardly, and what I ate, well, anyway, and they were saying had baskets of food that the Brits paid for, I paid for. I'm a hostage. Great Britain's a hostage. This is, and they can fill up their carts, even the poorest, while I can eat crap, nothing. And the Brits are being overrun. People, my God, the UK is small. They have people from all over the world that are trying to get into the borders there and overpowering Great Britain. But that's what the United States meant to do anyway, kidnap me, the monarch, and this is just to show you whether it's cryptic. Dempsey was the name gave me, and this is the Brits who came here while I'm living up on the Appalachian Trail here, freezing and starving. They came over, and their names mean something. The Mike Dempsey, of course, Dempsey fits into the name they gave me here, and Kirby and Young, and they're Brits, and they laid this out in the Fincastle here, which is where Bontoc County, Roanoke, about I'm up on the Appalachian Trail, freezing, starving. I didn't commit a crime. They've been committed against me. But next door is when they had, in Roanoke, is when they had Diana, and I'm not going to call her Princess. They had gowns showing at the Hotel Roanoke, which is really expensive. I have no place to live, haven't, and been run from place to place, and yet they're showing her gown down there with the limos, which my money paid for, by the way. This woman's illegal, should be prosecuted. She's a traitor. This is my dad, King Edward VIII, who married my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe. This is how history records it, a total lie. My father never married this American spy. An imposter did, and took down my father. And did I show this? My uncle, George VI, Elizabeth's father, with the traitor. He's illegal and helped kidnap me, and the Kennedys helped kidnap him. This was Roosevelt in '39, the year I was born. This is Mark and Scott, my sons, there after me, and I don't know where they are. Nobody touches it. This is one of the mind control murders, Gabby Gifford in the Tucson, Arizona. She's a U.S. congresswoman, and this is her husband, twin, Mark Kelly and Scott Kelly. They're both astronauts. Well, Mark is the twin that's her husband. Now, I wanted to get this in again. This whole thing has been orchestrated by the Illuminati, who's in power now, and Obama's a part of it. And they've really taken us down, haven't they? And I'm sure they're proud of it. They're so proud they can't tell the truth about it. And I wanted to go back if I can. I wrote about, and this is part of taking us over, I wrote about, in the medical malpractice book I did, about Center for Disease Control at Emory University and Dr. Jonas Robiser. You can look up these names. He wrote books. The last one, when they killed him, and he was professor of law and psychiatry at Emory, and I'm writing about that, and I'm writing about a Center for Disease Control right there. So anyway, he was killed then. The last book he wrote was The Power of Psychiatry, and he had some of my cases, just named them in the last chapter of the book. Now then, like I say, and others, they don't have what I have, but there's other names that you can Google that say the same thing, that the diseases have been genetically engineered here in this country in the labs. Well, specifically, I was writing about it in 78, 77, and I've had antifreeze and everything put in me, and nothing's been done about any of it. The whole thing is, now then they move into Australia, well, they've got Australia, I said that before, or that's their real aim, is Australia. But Africa, they have created the illness, and here they move in and look like the good guys going to come in and save it. Good Americans, right? So they sent the doctor and, well, I guess both of them were doctors, back to Emory University Center for Disease Control when they contacted Ebola recently, to send them back to where the disease started. How's that? So anyway, look at what's happened, and everybody thinks the United States is their friends. Well, they're not. They're the enemy. And ISIS just helped kill a Brit who's a hostage of the Americans. I'm a hostage. The UK's a hostage. When Elizabeth and her father took down my dad and helped kidnap me, they made illegal treaties that allowed the United States to put its bases all over British soil, and that used it as a launching pad for NATO, which is a protection racket, and the UN, and you've even got the blacks that were in on it back then, knew about me, knew about all that was being done to me. Martin Luther King, Andrew Young, who was appointed ambassador to the UN and went to Africa, specifically South Africa, as a good guy.